change can never happen unless you want to change yourself.
Brilliant.
Nobody, and I mean no one, can do it for you. So first of all, you've got to get up in the morning and say, okay, this is my day now and I'm taking control of myself. And therefore, I would say to you, go drop the leggings, go and get into something that you feel good in. I think you have to feel good in what you're wearing. And then from there, actually your whole mindset changes. Even on the way you work.
Yeah.
Because I know even on the day I work, if I was over casual going into work, I perform completely different on the days than when I would be in a suit or in something completely different in the office.
Yeah.
And that's just giving that small example.
Yeah, 100%.
But change has to come from yourself.
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Welcome to Psychology with a Sparkle, the podcast. This is episode 6 and I'm your host, Dr. Denise O'Dwyer. And I'm delighted today to be joined by Mandy Maher, owner of Catwalk Model Agency, the platform by Mandy Maher, weekly stylist on Ireland A.M, the head judge of Galway Races Ladies' Day, and brand ambassador for Humankind Skincare and Bellamanta, as well as a long-term pal of mine. Welcome to the podcast, Mandy. Delighted to have you here.
Denise, I'm so delighted to be here. It's
last.
been at this side of it with you, because normally we'd be sitting down having the cup of tea and the chats. But it's lovely. I'm delighted. I'm very honoured to be asked. So thank you very much for having me here.
You're very welcome. And Storm AO and scuppered our plans back in January when you were supposed to appear, but you're look at we got here, which is great. Mandy, you're obviously an expert when it comes to style and fashion. Your part of your life, your whole professional life really is consumed by all of that. And today, even though everyone will be dying to get all your tips and tricks, but I'm also interested in chatting to you about the psychology of fashion, because as you know, and for anyone who's read my book, that's a chapter that I wrote, which I'm very interested in myself. So the first question I wanted to ask you about was, how big of an importance do you think that style and fashion play in terms of first impressions?
Oh, I think absolutely hugely, because it's like anything, Denise. When we meet people, the first thing you do is you are kind of nearly looking them up and down, and you're looking at them, think, oh my God, are they making a good impression with whatever they're wearing? Yeah. So for me, style, fashion is massive. When first impressions, definitely, as they say, always lasts. It always lasts for sure.
Yeah. And do you think, is there anything in particular, like in terms of like colour, or is there anything like we'd say for people listening in, if they're thinking about going for an interview, or is there anything in particular that you'd say to kind of watch out for, or, to kind of be mindful of?
I mean, fashion is so varied. And you know what? You know it yourself, because you're one of the most fashionable people I know. But like with fashion, it's all down to our own styles and preferences. And I think that's very important. And it's how you feel wearing whatever you're wearing.
Exactly.
But I think often at times with people is that, how do you get it right? It's all about trial and error. I'm still doing trial and error, trust me, even at my age, and with the experience I have in the fashion industry, with what I do for profession. But it's not about, I think sometimes it's about maybe stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's important when it comes to fashion, but also equally choosing something that you feel good in. I think that's what's really important. And then you'll be gives you the first impression of whether you're shining or not.
Exactly. Yeah, I'd agree with you 100%.
People often get it pigeonholed as well, Denise. Yeah. Like, I'm getting a real rant and rave here now. You'll be hardly asking me questions at all. But sometimes when you become a certain age, people are inclined to kind of go for clothes that they think are more appropriate for that age group. Whereas I look and kind of go, but who says you can't wear that?
Absolutely.
It's all about dressing and looking how you feel right. And now, okay, age, does it come into it? It does slightly. Obviously, you're not going to be wearing the same things as what you wore when you were early 20s, or what you might see some particularly for myself, speaking of myself, somebody that's younger than me or half my age, I probably wouldn't wear what they would wear, very, very short and all of those things. I mean, I need to keep my age in consideration. But the other side of it is, that's no reason why you still can't look well or look sexy at the same time.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. So, like in a similar vein then, how much do you think our personalities come through, like in terms of like being able to like identify somebody's personality through their style?
I think that's, you'll spot that anyway. Because I think definitely people's personality will always shine through by what they wear, because automatically when you see somebody in something that's maybe a little bit kind of loud or out there, you're kind of going, okay, this person's definitely going to be full on, probably.
Yeah.
And then you might meet somebody that's quirky.
Yeah.
Or you meet somebody then that's just super elegant and super chic and super stylish.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's kind of like a pattern going through.
Absolutely.
But I'm a big fan of showing personality when it comes to clothes and having your own individuality. I think that's what's important when it comes to fashion, for sure.
Absolutely. And you can nearly associate, you know, the way like sometimes I'd be like, oh, you'd love that, Mandy, or you'd say to me, you know, you'd love that, or, you know, that's completely your style or whatever. You actually associate different looks with different people, don't you?
100%. Like we're very similar. You and I would definitely wear the same style clothes. Everything, even what you're wearing today, I kind of want to strip you right now and take it home with me. But you know, but even we both commented straight when we met each other today.
Yeah.
But I think, do you know when you kind of get dressed in the morning, it's all down to how you're feeling as well.
100%.
So a lot of it is how you actually feel. Like, probably, not for me, I'm probably talking about menopause, because like from a point of view of my personality can be very different every day. So like today I'm in a suit, whereas tonight I could be in a dress and heels.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Or tomorrow. So it depends on how you're feeling.
Absolutely. 100%.
You know, for sure.
Yeah. So in terms of your own, how would you define your own style yourself? How would you define your style? I can define it for you, but I want you to define it.
Do you know what? You define my style for me, so.
Okay.
I'm going to put it back, the hot seat back on you now, now.
I would say you're classic with a twist. You love different things, and there's always a little bit of punch to your style, you know. So
Thank
you like, you know, you're always very feminine, but at the same time, there's like an edge, which I love. There's an edginess.
But I am so going to, you're going to be, you are anyway one of me BFFs, but I can tell you one thing for today, but thank you for that.
Yeah.
But bang on, I love classical looks. I love tailored looks. I'm very tailored in what I would
suits.
normally
You wear
go
a lot
for.
of trouser suits.
Huge amount of trousers. They're my definitely go-to thing always. But I love tailored, and I do like something a little bit quirky or edgy thrown in the mix.
Yeah.
I love clothes that I could probably wear now, but equally could I wear them in 5 years' time? Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll probably touch on later on, but I definitely think it's about being able to mix and match. I'm a huge fan of mixing and matching clothes and pieces you have in your wardrobe. So, for example, the suit I'm wearing today, could I wear this blazer with a pair of jeans or something completely different? Yes, I could. Can I wear the trousers with maybe a lovely oversized knit? Yes, I could.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a great staple piece to have.
Exactly. And you don't mind investing in pieces like that. You know, I like that coupling them, you know, high street with designer, which I know you're a fan of as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very mixed in my wardrobe. I do. I'm a huge high street fan. I'm particularly, I suppose, Zara. Love it.
Stuff.
Love classical pieces that you can pick up with them, and you can have them for a long time too. That doesn't mean you won't. You can.
Yeah.
But I do love good things.
Yeah.
And I love good quality clothes. I love Irish designers and who doesn't?
You like your labels.
Yeah, I do like my labels. I do like my labels.
Yeah, you do. And you always look absolutely super.
Thank you.
Absolutely gorgeous. On that note, who would be kind of some of your style icons or your style inspos?
I probably off the top of my head, and I've always said it about her, is probably Victoria Beckham. I think she's definitely my style icon. Yeah. I love her fashion sense. I love her collections every time she brings them out. She's definitely a very tailored woman, exactly the type of clothes I like. They're sharp, they're elegant, they're chic, and yet they're sexy with it as well. So it's not like you're buttoning yourself up to the neck and right down to the ankle buttoned up. I think she just seems
she
to
gets
always,
it right. She gets
always.
It right. Yeah.
I love that's who my fashion icon would be for sure. I don't think I've ever seen her in an outfit that you'd say, "Oh my God, what were you doing in this today?"
Yeah, no, she just gets
She's
it right
every day.
Yeah, she gets it right perfect. Every time.
Yeah. So she would definitely be one for sure.
Okay. Anybody else?
Do you know what? Not really. And you might think, is there somebody else that we're kind of fanning over? There's not really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm loving the likes of Pinterest and things like that when you're online on social media. I love the likes of getting ideas or saying, oh, I'd never would have thought putting that with that, but now it could work. And that keeps me inspired.
Exactly.
But actually no.
Yeah. Yeah,
is that kind of a
no, it's not. It's not, because it means that you take your inspiration. I always think like all you have to do really is go out your front door and you can take inspiration from the landscape, from anywhere, from people walking down the street. You know, that I always think like fashion is influenced by not just people, but so many different things, you know, and that's where the personality bit comes in, you know. But I love kind of, you know, like going back to kind of more, we'll say older actresses in times past, like the likes of Audrey Hepburn. Like I loved her elegance.
Yeah.
But then Marilyn Monroe had a lovely sexiness about her. So but yet didn't kind of go over the top, you know. So those kind of, even Grace Kelly, like really, you know, those, would you be influenced from, we'll say, like that?
100%.
Yeah.
But I think you've actually hitting the nail on the head there, Denise. I think when it comes to fashion, I always say it, if we all love the same style, wouldn't the fashion world and our world be very boring?
Yeah.
So I think it's all sometimes about stepping out of our comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what's so important when it comes to fashion. Now, as I said to you earlier on, including myself, there's times where you can get safe.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether
I don't agree with that about you now, to be fair.
No, but you know the way sometimes, like, you can kind of pigeonhole yourself to the same type of styles the same.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're nearly afraid to try on something new.
Yeah.
I would say, because so many women struggle with wardrobes. They actually do.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, you know, sometimes, number one, let's go back to the drawing board here. So I'll give you this. This is my first thing I would give a tip to anybody listening.
Yeah.
I would say to you, get ruthless. What you need to do, first of all, is if you've come into a rut with clothes, I would say the best thing you could do is go to your wardrobe and clear it out.
Yeah.
And be ruthless and get rid of stuff you genuinely either, number one, doesn't fit you, shouldn't even be in your wardrobe if it doesn't fit you anyway. Number two is, if there's clothes there that you just haven't worn in years, be ruthless. Get rid of them. You're never going to wear them again.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing I would say to do.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're starting off fresh. The head is cleared.
Yeah.
And then do you meet somebody like either myself, or do you meet somebody that's into styling, or somebody that's really good into fashion, that you could go off for a day and try on clothes in your million years you would never have put on you. And next thing, all of a sudden, you'll start trying on things. You say, God, I would never have worn this before. This is actually beautiful.
Absolutely.
And that is what I would say. And it's about building the capsule wardrobe.
Yeah.
And going from there then. And then you building it.
Yeah.
That's
and obviously, Mandy, with your work on Ireland A.M, like, you do a lot of style consults, you do a lot of that kind of thing. Where, like, so, like, you've mentioned there about clearing out your wardrobe or whatever, but, like, I think it actually is important for people, we'd say, who kind of say, oh God, I haven't a clue about it, I don't know where, I don't know how to put things together. I do think it's probably a worthwhile investment, actually, to bring somebody like yourself, you know, for a consultation, or even to go through their wardrobe. Or do you do that kind of thing?
I personally don't, but I know people that are very good in the industry that I would highly recommend. I don't do it, Denise, because of time. So it's literally back to the old thing of time.
Yeah.
But for hence that reason, I don't personally do it. But it's like, listen, if somebody says to me, I'm really in dire stress, I would never see anyone stuck either in saying that. But I do think, don't pigeonhole yourself when it comes to fashion. That is the one thing I'll say. Sometimes you go and you look at clothes on a rail and you say, I wouldn't wear it. But next thing when you see it on, you're kind of going, wow, I would never have thought of wearing this.
Yeah.
And it's even something that I think a lot of people make mistakes on, because you see fashion evolves and changes so quickly now. And that's just the world that we're living in. Everything is disposable. It's about wearing nearly a dress today and you won't be caught dead seen in it again. I mean, listen, those days are gone. You have to be getting wear out of your clothes. But this is why it comes back to the capsule pieces and the capsule collections that you'll always have that are classics.
Yeah.
They're pieces that you'll have and you will pull them out forever.
Exactly.
But it's about trying on new things. Don't pigeonhole yourself, and not to get caught up, because sometimes, for example, leopard print. You either love it or you hate it. You either love it or hate it. There's no in between with leopard print, right?
Yeah.
So I would say to somebody, as we know, leopard print is huge out this year for 2025. It's still there. It's always been there, I think. But like, so if you're a person who go, oh my God, I wouldn't be caught dead with leopard print. Well, then what you do is add a little bit of an accessory.
Yeah.
Like that, exactly. A belt, a bag, maybe your shoes could be leopard print.
Yeah.
So you're incorporating the leopard print into your
hints of it. Yeah.
Exactly. That's bringing you on trend, but yet not being overboard, and you're not going to be afraid of it.
Exactly.
So, and it's about body shape as well, Denise.
Yes.
So I could be rambling on here now forever. I'll be driving you crazy. But like,
this is
you know, this is also another thing, because, you know, depending on your age group, but I know definitely when you're kind of coming probably mid-40s upwards, your body changes. Whether you like it or you don't, it happens as all.
Yeah.
And you now then have to change possibly the way that you would have dressed one time to the way you would be maybe in your mid-40s upwards. So therefore, like, you know, it's not about, again, back to the fashion. Just because it's in fashion, you need to dress for your body shape. Full stop, regardless of that's the first thing, and that's the first secret you have to get right.
Yeah.
And then from there, you build your wardrobe after that.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the biggest mistake a lot of people make, is that they're buying clothes that just do not work with their body.
Yeah.
And therefore will not look well.
Absolutely. And like I think it is, on that note, like it is, I believe it's absolutely possible for everybody, regardless of shape, size, budget, whatever. It's possible for everyone to look well. But as you said, it's about knowing your body, knowing what you're working with, first of all, and buying things that suit your shape
100%.
and your style. You know, that you're not putting yourself into something that's up to here and down to your toes if that's not your style. Do you know what I mean? I'd look ridiculous in something like that.
And so would I, because it wouldn't be me.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be me, like, because people, if you follow us, people will know, have an idea of what you actually like. But this is my point. Embrace your age.
Yeah.
You know, and it is about coming back to that point earlier on. Okay, you might not be any longer in your 20s.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you still can't look as good as if you were in your 20s. Mm-hmm. Don't kind of consider all of a sudden, because I'm more mature now, I can't be wearing stuff like that. Of course you can wear it, for God's sake. If you're feeling good in it, why wouldn't you wear it?
Yeah.
But you're going back, body shape, huge thing. Yeah. They need to get that right first.
Yeah.
And I'm a massive, massive advocate and fan of proper underwear and shapewear. Okay. And you're going back to the basics. Yeah. Do you know when you feel, you know, with what you do, Denise, in your own profession, right? Yeah. You're meeting patients all the time. Yeah. And it's how you feel inside that will affect everything. Yeah. But it's also similar when it comes to clothing.
Yeah.
Why would you go and spend a fortune on an outfit and your shapewear or your bra or your underwear is completely wrong? Because I am telling you, it will destroy any outfit, regardless of what you pay for it. Whether it's you know, high street or whether it's high end. Yeah. It makes no odds. Yeah. So again, another big, massive tip I would give. Yeah. Go and get shapewear if you need it.
Brilliant.
Get proper, good, spend the few pound and get proper shapewear. And underwear is the same thing. Go and get your bra sizes done, because the amount of women that wear bras that are not the correct size is scary.
Okay.
And it makes a massive difference.
Okay.
Seamless underwear. Don't be wearing these underwears. You can see big lines in through the trousers and stuff like that. Oh my God, I'd absolutely have a heart attack. Because it's just like, the defibrillator then needs to be pulled out. Do you know what I mean? So it's small things.
Yeah.
People mightn't think, and that's not... You know, that it's the basics.
Oh, it is, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so start from within and then work out.
Yeah, work your way out. Because you won't feel good within, like if you're going around and you have a visible panty line or whatever the case is.
But Denise, like I wear shapewear. Like I'm, you know, I vary between a size 8 and 10, and depending on the menopausal days, at size 12 mightn't close me sometimes, and people might find that very unusual for me to sit here and say that, because I'm naturally slim, I always have been. Yeah. But in saying that, on the next breath, I noticed particularly probably in the last 2 years, my own body shape has changed a huge amount. Mm-hmm. So it's fluctuating in weight. I could be a size 8 today, and literally I wouldn't be exaggerating saying in a few days' time a size 12 would hardly close me, because I could be so swollen, my tummy could be swollen or whatever. Yeah. So this is why, but shapewear is fantastic. I wear shapewear almost all the time now. Okay. And also, as well as that, if you suffer a little bit of cellulite, by having the little kind of like cycle shorts shapewear, they actually completely smooth out the skin. So here's all the tips coming. I swear to God, there's absolutely no sexiness whatsoever when it comes to shapewear. I was going
to say our G-string. Oh,
no. Seriously, Ger O'Connor, my husband, when he looks at me, just goes, oh, seriously, when this is pulled out, there's definitely like... Hello, like, is all I can actually say on all of that. But anyway.
Oh, you're priceless. So on that note, actually, do you think that there's such a thing as fashion or style faux pas? What would you class as a style or a fashion faux pas? Because obviously you're head judge on the Galway race course.
I am.
What are some of the things that you see people like?
I think sometimes, when it comes, say if we go to fashion first, as in general everyday to day fashion, I think sometimes... Actually, what can kill looks is people either overdoing it as well.
Yeah.
And by adding the too much on, you have that old saying of remove some of your pieces.
Take
you don't
one
need
piece of Coco Chanel.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a classic saying, and it's but she's so right.
Yeah.
You need to, sometimes you don't need to always go overboard. Mm-hmm. Sometimes less is actually a minimal, which we've been seeing a huge amount of this quiet luxury over the last couple of years, and particularly on Instagram and this whole era of social media. Pare it back.
Yeah.
It's the classics. It's your beiges, your whites, your creams, your black, your navy. They're your staples always of colours. Mm-hmm. But in saying that, it's all about that. You don't need to be overboard. And then all of a sudden you could see the most beautiful outfit and you go, why, oh God almighty, did they wear those earrings, those chain and everything else when they could have pared it all back and it could have just looked so much different and chicer. So I think that's where people need to be careful.
Yeah.
Big time.
And you were always, Mandy, this is going back to the early days of Catwalk. You had to drummed into us, like, have your nails done, have your makeup done, have your hair shiny. Like those things, like grooming from head to toe. And that is something that, and I'm sure it's no different today, the way you speak to the girls who are on your books at the moment, but that you always were so firm on that you had to be groomed from your head to the tips of your toes.
100%. If you want to be treated as a professional, you turn up professional. And that's the bottom line. And funnily enough, Denise, you were laughing at me because when I was coming over here to record this podcast with you today, of course I had to go off and get the hair done when I knew I was meeting you. So I went off and I got my blow dried on. I'm going to give Bellissimo a cheeky shout out because you know I'm 25 years with them over there. They always look after my beauty and my hair and the whole shebang. They're fantastic. But my point is, I actually had a conversation with one of the stylists there this morning, so you're just bringing it up and you're going on about hair and beauty and, you know, having the nails done and like obviously like some people might feel, oh, it's okay, you know, it's all right for kind of them people, you know, they'd have money, this and the other. It's not about money.
No, that's true.
And fashion or looking well is nothing got to do with money. It's how you want to feel with yourself. And this is exactly with the work that you do every day of the week, Denise. So it's like, you know, it's the small things that will make you feel better. It's having the hair done. God almighty, treat yourself to get your hair done and don't feel guilty.
Absolutely.
You need to keep it, and that doesn't take money.
No.
You know, if you don't want to go and get professionally polished nails done or whatever with a beautician, then go and buy a bottle of nail polish that's €3 and €4, file them and paint them. And it's small things that will make you feel better. You know, we're 5 years this year gone from COVID, which was I don't even want to talk about COVID because it's just so depressing. But anyways, listen, we're at the other end of it now, thank God. But the other side of it is, people said to me, what did you miss most about COVID? And people might think it's trivial. I missed getting my hair and my nails done. And people might think, God almighty, would you not think of other things? But that is the truth. And I never forget the day that we were all allowed back out. I had been on to Bellissimo Blow and I said, put me in for your first appointment. And to be fair, they did. But like, I'm just saying, it was those things to make you feel better. And it's not about money. It's not about going out and spending huge money on designer clothes. Great if you can afford it and do it, and good on you is all I say. But also equally, you can go into any high street store, Pennies, any of them, and you could pick up outfits, I swear to God, that can look absolutely unbelievable. So it's not about money. It's about looking after yourself and doing it for you, because if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for you.
Absolutely.
So don't be under any illusions on that one.
100%. And like that, if you can't afford, you know, if you feel you don't have much fashion sense and you can't afford a stylist or to get a consult with somebody, bring a friend who you know has 100%. A good fashion sense, you know. And like, as you say, it's possible to look well at any budget, at any age, at any stage of life. I genuinely believe that, you know,
and so do I.
And I do think that, you know, you're absolutely 100% right in saying, Mandy, that, you know, if you look good, you feel good, and equally, if you feel good, you look good.
100%.
So
and they go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
And as I said, don't feel guilty, Denise. But when you go back to the models and all of those things, I am strict in it. I'm very strict in that they're always meticulous, that they're always groomed. It's vital. And as I said, particularly in that industry, if you want to be treated like a professional, then you turn up professional.
Absolutely.
There's no excuse for chipped nail polish or turning up with, you know, it is just an absolute no-go. No, I do remember that.
So you listened to me. Of course I did. We all did. We had no option. So in terms of rules, do you believe that there are any kind of particular rules when it comes to fashion?
No.
Yeah,
I would say straight off, no.
Yeah,
I think fashion is, as we said, if we all love the same thing, God bless us all, wouldn't we be living in a very boring world?
Yeah.
So I would say you need to dress to how you feel good. I think that's, to me, is more important than anything else. And if you feel good in it, then all I say is fair play to you.
Yeah.
And happy days.
Yeah.
You know, so no, I don't think there's really a faux pas when it comes to fashion as such.
Same as that.
Yeah.
Same as that. And I think as well, like I always think, confidence is probably the best outfit anyone can rock. But then it's to kind of how to accentuate that. And again, to show your personality. Like I think an awful lot of people, they're afraid to express. It's about self-expression, actually. How your style, your personal style. And people, there is that kind of fear of, oh God, I'll stand out too much if I wear that, or...
Oh my God. No.
Do you know?
Don't ever be afraid to stand out for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Do not stand out for the wrong reasons.
Exactly.
But stand out for the right reasons.
That's really good advice, actually.
And do you know what I'm going to compliment you on now? Because I love your style. But do you know what I love about you?
Yeah.
Is that you're great for being quirky by adding accessories. So in other words, you'll put brooches in places you never would have thought of putting brooches in. But that's what changes an outfit and gives you your own edge.
Yeah.
I'm even looking here at your gorgeous shell buttons on your waistcoat today. It's different.
Yeah.
It's classy. And because there's such a statement, you've got 2 very simple chains on you as well with it.
Yeah.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
So it works. And it's not over the top.
Yeah.
So it's about, do you go, I'm a huge fan, Denise, of accessories. Now, you know that you are yourself.
Love your brooches as well.
I do, I do love my brooches. I'm a big fan of brooches. I actually think brooches are old fashioned. I think they remind me of my grandmother.
I know.
So therefore, for me, it's just something that's like.
Brooch as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and I wear a brooch almost all the time, actually.
You do.
But I do think invest in accessories.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Yeah.
You can never have enough of them. And do you know what about accessories? There's no such thing as a fashion thing really when it comes to accessories. You know the way fashion comes and goes. Accessories are nearly always there.
Yes.
There's something that you'll collect and you'll have forever.
Absolutely. Honestly, sometimes I wear things and people say to me, oh, did you get a new, whatever? And I'd say, I have that like 15 years.
Yeah.
And it literally will have, like that's something that a simple black outfit, but you throw on a great belt or like that, a lovely brooch or statement earrings, and it transforms the outfit from something really simple to something that has that bit of edge.
Absolutely. And it's small things.
Yeah.
And it'll either work or it won't.
Exactly.
Even scarves. Scarves are huge this season for 2025, whether you knot it on your neck or whether you literally add it to the strap of your handbag.
Yeah.
It's small things that brings the whole thing together.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So kind of moving away slightly from that, but still in the same vein. You're married, obviously, to the lovely Ger.
I am. He's poor Ger.
Who also is always very dapper, in fairness to Ger. But I'm interested to know.
When we first met each other, you're hilarious. I did have to do slight changes on him, but anyway.
Go on, talk to me.
Sure. I remember Ger. I met Ger at 19. We're 30 years married this June, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And to be fair, he's very much the backbone of me. And I'll always say it, I've never denied it. Ger be the one that would always have pushed me to have gone forward with my own career and everything like that. And he's amazing. He's brilliant. But, but I remember when we first met him, I spotted this guy across the room with a big moustache. He looked like Magnum P.I. But hilarious. I thought he was fabulous. And he was.
But Ger from moustache.
Yeah, I know, it's pure mad, isn't it? And then like I had long hair longer than your own now.
Yeah.
And but within 1 year of being married, I'd crop short hair and was blonde. So I went through definitely a mad hormonal phase then too.
Yeah.
But Ger loves his fashion though.
Oh yeah, you'd know that by him though.
He does. He likes good clothes. He likes nice classic clothes.
Yeah.
He very much likes his chinos, his shirts, his blazers. That would be very much Ger's look.
His style.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And like, how much we say have ye both influenced each other's style over the years? Like, have you ever done a Posh and Becks now in full on leather?
Absolutely. Maybe he might like that. After 30 years of marriage, maybe I should recommend that. But anyway, no. And to be fair, Ger would never turn around and say to me, "Oh my God, don't wear that" or "don't whatever." I'd have to say he'd always kind of let me off doing my own thing.
Which is lovely.
Yeah, he's never dictated about what I wear.
And would he be honest with you? Like if he came out and said, what do you think?
Yeah, he would. And I'd say, I was thinking about wearing this. And he'd go, I think it'd maybe better than that. But he'd never say, don't get it or whatever. No, he wouldn't be. I'd be wronging him if I said he would. He wouldn't be. He wouldn't be critical now at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas I'd be kind of slightly more critical back to himself about getting bits or whatever. But to be fair about it, I'd say we're together, 34 years? Since then, I'd probably be buying his clothes anyway.
Yeah,
I would say there's no point denying that. Like, Ger now is allergic to shopping, and if we went shopping together, we'd want to bring 2 separate cars with us anyway. So it's kind of like okay, because it'll just be all picture and no sound the whole way home. But
I could just imagine. Yeah, and like would you kind of take on board if he said to you, you know, I think you should go for...
Oh, 100%.
Would.
No, I would, because I know if he said it, he would mean it.
Yeah.
He'd say, do you know what? That just does nothing for you.
Yeah.
And no, I would. And I'd value his opinion.
Yeah,
it's not
absolutely.
that I wouldn't. And, you know, I would value, obviously, I would value his opinion.
And he's very involved with the agency as well.
Yeah. But that's what, you know, Denise, even when you were going on about the models there earlier, like, Ger is the guy that actually does the rehearsals with the models when it comes to shows. So if we're at a show, I'm at this stage now, I'm normally emceeing, so my head is all over the place when I'm trying to deal with the boutiques and whatever, making sure all my notes and everything for the night is okay. Whereas he'd be the one that would actually have the models on the runway and doing this, that and the other. And even during the intervals, like more often not with some of our fashion shows, we could have maybe a 20-minute break before we kickstart the second half of the show, say, for example. But Gerard's the one now that will go and talk to each of the models and says, you know what, you're not modelling well tonight. You need to start doing this and this. And he would be now in a nice way now, because obviously all the models are like my kids.
Not be
and
kind,
he's the same. He's like, we're very much mind our models.
Oh, yeah.
And but like, he would just say, listen, you're not yourself. You need to pull up on this, that and the other and watch when you're doing this and whatever. He'd actually be more sharper than myself. And I do laugh at him. I go, crikey almighty, is it like, you know, but over the years, I suppose, we built the business together.
Yeah.
I mean, I know obviously I'm the forefront of it. But,
Yeah.
but I mean, it has been a partnership of being together.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And does Ger have any advice? Actually, you might want to let the listeners know, Mandy, a little bit about actually the platform by Mandy Maher, because that's kind of a newer thing since COVID, isn't it? So just, is Ger involved in that as well? Is that just...
No, he wouldn't be now. At the fashion shows, Ger looks after all of, from the model's perspective, he would look after all the production of our shows. So he does the staging, the lighting, that kind of side of it. So that's all his baby.
Yeah.
And that would be it. It'd be myself, obviously be dealing with the models after that. But then during COVID, as I say, goes, in some ways people reckon that COVID probably made me in another way, because it brought me a completely different direction.
You were doing all the Instagram lives.
I mean, seriously, Denise, I never in a million years, if you told me I was going to open up an agency for influencers and content creators, I would say, are you actually on another planet? Because I never in a million years saw myself going that route. And even back that time, like 5 years ago, I was kind of saying, oh, influence. I honestly, that's the truth. I didn't get it.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, obviously, with everything that
you were
kicked in,
forced to look at different options.
My back was to a wall, Denise. My business is wiped out. It's no secret. I've said this out openly. And I thought, oh my God, what am I actually going to do for a living? Because what people mightn't realise, I'm not one of these people that have a cash flow business where there's money coming in all the time. I'm working for my next job all the time. So like, I could have a month that could be absolutely amazing and a fantastic month, but equally I could have 2 or 3 months with hardly anything coming in.
Sure.
So that's the other side and probably the downfall of the business that I do. And then from, you know, when COVID kicked in, obviously Catwalk got such a hammering that I never expected. You know that, because we would be in touch all the time. And but in another way, maybe it gave me the kick up the backside I possibly needed.
Well, not so much that, but it brought out a different side to you.
It sure did.
Yeah.
And what I love about it is I sat back and I said, okay, how do I keep my business alive, Catwalk? And the friends of mine were saying to me, why aren't you going online? I said, what you mean? This is, you need to start telling people your business isn't closed. You're still there. It's just that at the moment you can't operate. And they said, you need to do Instagram. And I said, well, not if you did, I would die a death. I said, I'm not going to do it.
You were
but I had to do
brilliant.
it, Denise.
Yeah.
I literally contacted all the people I've worked with over the years. I've worked with some amazing people in the country. And I'm blessed with. And they all came on board. Nobody said no to me. We did the Instagram lives, did the stories. And that's what kept my business alive. And then from there, I went back and I re-educated myself. I went back and I did digital marketing online with DCU in Dublin. I mean, as I said, I was the oldest swinger in town, Denise. Literally, like, I'm sitting here online with a group of people I could have given birth to. But sure, anyway, that was all fine too. But it was brilliant because I couldn't open up something without knowing the back end of it. I can't sit and tell a client to book somebody if I don't know how it works. And that's why I did the digital marketing. I opened up the platform where we represent influencers and content creators. And if I'm being honest, I probably have never looked back since. It is full on 7 days a week of nonstop madness. It's massive, but it equally brought probably the whole business, including Catwalk, to work with brands we only ever dreamed of, which I probably wouldn't have done only for opening up the platform. For sure, 100% I wouldn't have had. I mean, we're working with almost every brand you could think of at this stage, which is fantastic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But I think it's a testament to you though, Mandy, and how like that you can literally turn your hand to anything and that you're so professional. And what I always say about you is, regardless of how busy, because you are busy, like literally 24/7, you know, but you still always manage to get back to people. Like it amazes me. Like I'm like, you know.
But Denise,
you always get back to people and
very
really
personal.
Quickly, very smartly.
Thank you.
You don't leave it for hours.
No,
you know,
I don't.
Because it is really frustrating like that if you're either professionally or personally when you send a
drives me
message to
crazy.
somebody. And, you know, it can be frustrating.
If you ask me my pet hate, that is one of them.
Okay. Yeah.
I cannot stand when people don't reply in a text or don't reply in a message. It actually drives me nuts. I actually think it's rude. And to be fair, Denise, I'd be very personal with my business. I'm very one-on with all of my customers. Now, you know that from me personally, because I know we're friends outside of everything as well. So, but I think that's probably I'm lucky. I have a great relationship with people and they know me. I've no filter. I'll say it as it is. I don't do filter. If I feel something needs to be said, it's said and it's done and dusted. As you know, I'm woeful blunt. At times I nearly think, oh my God, am I actually too bloody blunt? But I think that's a big thing. But equally, Denise, I'm proud of where I grew up from. I'm proud of how hard I've worked to where I got to. And that's not sounding shitty by sitting here and saying
actually,
that.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah,
because I think people would be interested to hear.
Because it's like I grew up, you know, we grew up in Tipperary. My parents were both incredible, but by God, were my parents workers. So, I mean, I'm out working since I'm 16 years old, Denise. I know no different. That's the truth. Yeah. And it always stood to me. And I hope Ger and I, which I know because Ger equally comes from a working background as well, that we've instilled that in our kids.
Absolutely.
And they've all been out working now since they're 16. Yeah. That's just the way it is. Yeah. But I think equally, don't forget where you've come from. Absolutely. And I think that's the biggest
100%.
mistake a lot of people make, because now you see people, and I know them and see them, and they're doing brilliantly, and I wish them well. I always wish people well. But don't forget how you got there, who helped you to get there.
1,000,000%.
And don't forget your roots of where you've come from. And I think that's, so for me to return a message to somebody, it's honestly no big deal. I think it's the least I can actually do. So,
but it's a lovely quality because it's not commonplace, as people might think. It's not. Yeah. You know, so it is a lovely quality. And as I said, I know how busy you are. So it is something I think that I'm sure it's not just me who notices that about you. And I think that's why you're as successful. Well, not just because you return messages, but just that you are very personable and very professional.
Yeah, and some people, like, I know even like when we started working with really big brands, like, some of them I think must have thought they were Fruit Loops, like, and that's the truth, because I'd be very informal about how I work.
Yes.
Now, I'm super professional.
Oh, God, yeah.
But in saying that, like, I could be like, you know, you kind of build up a rapport with these people. So the whole formality nearly goes out the way. Now, when you're doing the wheeling and dealing, by the very end, it has to be formal, because obviously it has to, because the business has to go ahead. But like, you could be kind of like, how are you today? What's the crack? Or or Happy Friday, what's the news is, or your whole way of dealing with these people are different.
Absolutely.
And I think initially they kind of thought, oh my God, what the hell is this going on? But now, because they know us,
they know you. Yeah.
They know, oh, it's just their personality, it's the way they are. And I actually think they enjoy it as well, because it's probably a little bit of a breath of fresh air type thing going on too.
100%. Like that, having that kind of genuine, that comes through. Like when people are genuinely authentic, other people can read that. Yeah. Because if they're not, they can read the BS as well.
100%. You know? There's plenty of that too, Denise. Yeah. I'm having a bestseller like you. I am going to have a bestseller someday.
I'm sure, I've no doubt. I've said that to you before. There's definitely a book in you. But even coming back to the psychology element of it, like that, you do have to, you're meeting so many people on a day-to-day basis, and it's about knowing kind of what the boundaries are with each of those people and those clients, you know, and reading the room.
And you do, and there's some people I'm very tactile. Yeah. So the minute you see me, my arms are around you, whether I've ever met you or not before. It's just me. It's just the person that I am. It's my personality. Yeah. But you do read a room. Yeah. And you meet other people that are more formal, and I respect that. Yeah. And that's the way exactly how our whole meeting would go, obviously. So that's, you know, but you do read the room. It's like doing a fashion show. It's like doing a gig or hosting an event. you can go into an event and the room could be, you'd know whether they're up for the crack or not.
Yeah.
You know within the first couple of seconds of going on a stage.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh my God, okay, these are going to be up for the crack. So I know my whole personality will probably change to suit that.
Yes.
But equally, I can go on and host something or
that you know is
chat
more
with people
subdued.
that could be completely, and it could be way more formal.
Yeah.
So equally, you know, then that's what you need to deliver.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly.
But I do prefer the fun side.
Of course you do.
It's just kind of me, I think.
But that's you. That is you, 100%. Kind of talk about something, I suppose, that's quite relevant to today, Mandy. And I know that like Catwalk has always kind of been a very inclusive agency in terms of like that recruiting models and whatever else. But in terms of like, I suppose, as women, and not just women actually, I would say it's nearly as bad for the men now at the moment, but body shapes and sizes and trying to conform to certain beauty standards and all of that. How much does that impact, or have you noticed a big change in terms of, we'd say, today's models as distinct from 10 or 15 years ago or 20 years ago? You know, how much that has changed? Is there more of kind of the likes of eating disorders, body dysmorphia, all of that kind of thing?
I would say probably not as much in Ireland, for sure.
Okay.
I think the Irish market is very different from a European or worldwide market when it comes to modelling. And unfortunately, that stigma is probably still there when it comes to international work.
Yeah.
They're still looking for the super tall, super skinny looking people. And that is still very much there. I would say in Ireland, we probably don't lose the run of ourselves as much. And I would say the models are definitely way more everyday models, if that makes sense. I know in Catwalk, it's the one thing, Denise, now you were with me very, when I first opened up the agency, so you know the crack. Catwalk is open 28 years this year. I have never and will never ever tell a model to lose weight. We accept models of all sizes. So realistically, in my market and the clients I deal with, they want to see the girls with the fuller figure. Okay, yes, there's a certain standard where you'd have your sizes, your smaller size models. Of course, if that business is there, it has to be there and I have to provide it. But equally, we have models of your 14, 16, 18. And all ages. My oldest model in my books is in her 70s. And she's probably one of my busiest models. So like I adjust to, and that's what I'm saying about the Irish market more so. I think people love when they see models that are relatable. That was the word I couldn't think of. Now I have it. Relatable. I think people want to be able to see, for example, like as a model, our job is to sell what we're wearing.
Exactly.
So your job is not about you as a person. It's not about the model. It's actually about how are you going to sell that outfit to an audience. So that audience, if they're looking at the model, they're kind of saying, God, you know what? I could actually wear that. Because it could be on somebody that's mature, that could be a good size 14 or 16, which is relatable. And then they're saying, you know what, I would never have thought of buying that, but now I'm going to buy it. So therefore, you know that model is actually doing a good job. And I think that's what's important, that there's work for everybody. But for me, even doing shows, I ensure on every job we do, unless it's specific that it's requested from a client, we would always have models of all sizes and ages in every show I do. And always the comment is your models are always so relatable.
And it's very inclusive.
Very inclusive. And the same with men. Like Denise, you brought up about male models as well. They're equally under pressure too, to always having to look well 100%. And be in a good shape. And,
but even more so now. I just think in recent years, there's just a real pressure.
But like, you know yourself, like, sure, when I was going out like at 18, 19 and 20 years of age, sure, if a man showered and slept on a bit of aftershave, sure, he was fabulous. Sure, like, that's the truth. But there was never this whole fitness thing or anything. There actually wasn't. Like when you think about it as such.
And whereas
now the generation is so different. It's all about, you know, as you said, have they the six pack? How lean are they? They're watching what they're eating. They're
protein
completely different ball game, completely different market altogether.
So the other thing I want to, which is kind of similar to this or in a similar vein, Mandy, you're obviously a brand ambassador, you have been for some time with Bella Mianta and then a recent brand ambassador with, I have to remind myself, Humankind Skincare. For you yourself, and because you are, you know, the front person of Catwalk, of, you know, the platform by Mandy Maher, do you feel that pressure in terms of your own body?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm under no illusions when I walk into a room that people would either turn and look
all
and say,
eyes are on you.
Yeah, or what's she wearing, or how does she look, or, you know, God, because there's days, Denise, trust me, there's days I look so rough.
I don't believe that.
No,
actually.
there are actually days
I do.
I've
never met you looking rough.
You know, like, so just
ever.
like, oh God, but do you know, there are days I just like slap on a tracksuit, throw on a tracksuit and fire the hair up the top of my head, and I'm actually, God knows, I'm actually loving life right then. But like, there is pressure. There's no point saying any different.
Yeah.
People, because of what the job I do, people
there's
definitely
100%.
Yeah. So I'm not going to sit here and lie about that 100%.
Yeah.
I do feel the pressure of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what's coming into my head actually is when we were supposed to record the podcast in January, and like that morning I woke up and my electricity was gone. I was going, what? I can't have a shower. I'll have to put a beanie on my head during the podcast because
well,
my hair.
God knows what I was going to look like, because I had a week of no water at all or electricity. But anyway,
she'd have your roof blown off.
Yeah, we had a right hammer. But you're listening, it's all good.
Anyway,
we're all alive.
Sorted.
We're all healthy. We're all fine.
You all sorted now. So, what do you believe makes great style? What are the markers of great style in your mind?
That's a tough question. That's a very tough question. I think you come back to style. I think it's all about the individual themselves. That's what I think is about, that style is. And style is about getting it right.
Yeah.
100% getting it right.
Yeah.
And keeping it simple.
Yeah. And that sometimes, like, I always think of style, because the next thing I wanted to ask you about actually, Mandy, was, do you think that there's a difference between style and fashion? And I always think style is kind of like, it's everything to do with that person, from how they walk to how they carry themselves, you know, right down to the grooming, as we were talking about earlier, you know, and how you style yourself. So what do you think is the difference between fashion and style?
I think style is something that's within you. That's what I think. I think fashion is something that comes and goes.
Yeah.
And what's on trend.
It's transient.
100%.
Yeah.
That's what I think the difference is between both.
Yeah.
And I would always say, if someone said to me they're in a rut and they really don't know what to do, then this is where you're going back to your basics. This is where you're going back to your basic capsule and working out of that then. That's what I would say to anybody. You can never go wrong.
Yeah.
It's about keeping it classy and keeping it chic.
Yes.
And as I said, it is not about money.
Yeah.
It's actually not about money.
No, it's never about money.
One bit.
No.
And it's how you carry yourself, Denise. It's how you feel from within.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head about that. And actually, you mentioned even about walking. And here's a tip for you. To me, and you know from doing modelling, and I would say to any lady that's listening, if you don't know how to walk in a pair of heels, seriously,
the memories.
This is all. Did I traumatize you? Did I traumatize your 20s and 30 years? But you know what I'm saying to you? Is there anything as bad? Here you are looking all fabulous in a beautiful guna, heading off for the day, looking $1 million, and next thing you cannot walk 2 steps in a pair of heels. Can somebody explain that to me? Because I actually don't get it. So with heels, and you know, actually, Denise, this is a thing where probably COVID killed a whole lot of us. We're all back wearing flats and trainers. Now, you're talking to the queen of trainers here, because I live in trainers. But I know how to walk in a pair of heels equally.
You do.
And if you don't know how to walk in a pair of heels, I'm being honest, whether it's somebody that could be getting married, whether you could be a mother of a bride or a groom coming up, or a big event and you're going to a big event or a wedding or whatever the case may be, put those heels on you and walk in them and keep walking in them till you know how to walk straight and walk properly and holding your head up and pulling your shoulders back, because posture plays a huge part in how you will walk into a room as well.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. You know, as the statement as you made at the very beginning of this podcast is making that statement in first impressions.
Yes. Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah.
So that would be my you know me. I know you're actually laughing.
I actually can't stop laughing because it's just like
I can't get people that cannot walk in heels. It kills me.
I know.
It absolutely kills me.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like all these, the way I hadn't thought about that actually. But in fairness, my mum would always say as well, you're like a turkey cock. If I was wearing something that's like, big platform or something, and I was kind of
plodding along.
You know, not the best on the feet or whatever she'd say it to me, because, you know, you're always smarter. Like when you feel smarter, you look smarter, and you present yourself smarter when you can walk properly.
100%.
And if you go an inch too high, it can be the difference between,
Absolutely.
you know, looking elegant and still, you know, having good style than going to a 6-inch where you're wobbling all over the place.
No.
And
They're so gone.
It's not working. Yeah. So I want to ask you for a night out. So what's your go-to outfit? Well, I can answer this, but I'm going to let you answer it. What's your go-to outfit for... Well, first of all, I want to ask you for a night out with Ger, for a date night.
I'd have to say if I was doing a date night with Ger, I would wear quite similar if I was going out with the girls or if I was going out with Ger. I love to wear something that's a nice sexy dress, a nice dress, that I feel well. And that, I would make as much of an effort now if I was going out for a night with Ger as what I would with...
Absolutely.
I think it's so important. And I think...
And would you wear your shapewear?
No. Yes, but I will not answer the rest of it because otherwise we are going to go viral for the wrong reasons. So I'm going to stay very good. If shapewear is needed for a little while, the shapewear will go on for sure. But I do like to dress kind of sexy. You know that I like my dresses. I like quite, you know, structured dresses and things like that. Over revealing, no, but yet a little bit of maybe something that leaves it to the imagination kind of thing. Yeah. And I would wear similar actually than if I was going out with yourself or Linda or any of the girls were having a night out. Yeah. You know, I would equally probably dress similar enough because and we always have a thing when we want to go, we all want to look well. Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you've kind of answered the second part then, which was for a night out with the girls. So it's kind of
very similar.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the heels will come out that night. I will be willing to put the runners away and pull the heels out that night. Yeah. You want to feel...
You do. Yeah,
good.
Absolutely.
And actually, Denise, this is actually something now. Here's another tip. We're going to a complete random thing. You're going to kill me. But
it's great.
Even like, do you know the way sometimes with your partner, like here you are going out with your partner and loving life and everything is all fabulous and rosy in the garden. And then a couple of years down the road, all of a sudden, things change. Family happen if you have family or work gets in the way or whatever people's situations are. Don't lose who you are when you first met your partner. And I think that's also a thing that happens.
It's a really good
with
point.
All of us.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I personally think you need to work probably harder than what you would have had when you were initially going out together. So I think, why would you lose what you would have done one time to when you are 10 or 15 or 20 years down the road with somebody? I think
that's what they fell in love with.
That's what they fell in love with. And I think it's lovely to be able to keep that little bit of spark and to be able to kind of feel for yourself personally, but equally for your partner too.
Yeah, 100%.
So I just don't understand people that lose that spark. And I know life can get in the way. I'm not sitting here and saying it's all rose in the garden, because trust me, I would have a bestseller if I got going on all of that too. But I'm just saying sometimes it's effort.
Absolutely.
So therefore you put in the effort.
You put in the effort. Yeah. And with that, you'll exude more confidence. You'll have that kind of
100%
pep in your step.
Yeah.
And that will ignite the spark.
Of course it
will. You know, because when you feel better about yourself, that's the energy that you reflect to other people, you know, and most of all, you want that to be with, you know, your partner. And as you said, you have to work harder as time goes on.
Absolutely.
To maintain that.
Absolutely.
So, you know, you have to kind of work on feeling good about yourself first and foremost, and then that's what you send out to the world.
And they love showing you off as well.
Absolutely.
Like, don't be under any illusions on that one either. They'll equally be loving life.
I'm sure Ger is one of the proudest mans in the country.
No, I'd say probably ready to throttle me half the time. But I mean, he would. And he'd always be... He's great for giving the compliments as well.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, he still does.
Yeah.
You know, and he actually still does.
Yeah, why wouldn't he?
Yeah,
why wouldn't he? And would you compliment him?
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, no, that's important.
Yeah.
That is important. Yeah. Okay, so a couple of quick fire questions.
Oh my God.
Jeans or dresses?
I have to pick jeans. I know you might think it would have been dresses.
No, I would have said jeans.
I would say I adore good jeans.
Yeah. Heels or trainers?
Trainers.
Yeah.
I'm completely...
Yeah.
I don't know whether, Denise, because of my work.
You love your sambas, don't you?
I love my sambas and I sneakily, yesterday, I was in Brown Thomas yesterday.
What you buy?
Oh,
Go
listen,
on.
I'm a disaster. I saw 3 of the most gorgeous pair of trainers and I couldn't make my mind up, so I just bought.
You bought the 3?
I'm a disaster. Makes me one on right
Go on.
now.
Oh, they're fab.
Great plug,
Yeah,
isn't it? But no,
they're
but you know what? I think it's because of my work when I'm hosting events. I'm generally in dresses and heels because I feel I present better.
Yes.
I wouldn't wear what I have on me right now to host an event.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't.
Yeah.
So,
and again, sorry to cut across you, Mandy, but that's the psychology part. So it makes you feel differently within yourself when you're in a structured dress.
And I would be more, to me now, I'm ready for work now.
Yes.
And that's how I feel.
Yeah.
So for me, because I'm dressed casual today, this is like us meeting here now. Or if I was to go to a meeting, I would have no problem wearing this to a meeting either. But in saying that, if I'm hosting something, I'm generally I would always be dressed up.
Yeah.
And with the heels and the whole lot. Whereas on my norm life, I love casual clothing. So therefore, my jeans are my go-to jeans. I adore good jeans.
Yes,
I love my trainers. So I'm probably even more the opposite of what people would normally see me as.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to laugh at you saying this is me casual. Like, hello, if anyone's watching, it's like, you're as glam as ever. Studs or hoops?
Oh, hoops.
Yeah, sexy or classy?
Oh, I like sexy. I kind of like, here I am in my 50s and I kind of feel, oh my God, just let me hold on to some bit of youth. So
but
it's like,
you do a combination of both.
I do
though,
actually.
Mandy.
I would say I would be classic as well.
Yeah, you are.
I would be.
Yeah.
I'd be very, you're right. I would be a
you
mix
do
of
combo of both.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. You can look very sexy.
And I don't want to pigeonhole
always...
myself being 90 before my time in there. And I don't. Like that's no disrespect.
Never happen. Don't ever worry about that. That never happened where you're concerned. Mandy, if there's anyone listening in, I always kind of try and leave the final note or the final kind of thought with the guest.
Okay.
So is there anything that you'd say to anybody maybe who's listening in, who maybe feels like, that they're not very good when it comes to style or fashion, or that they don't really, I mean, I know you mentioned earlier about doing a style or a wardrobe cull, but is there anything else that you'd say to anyone listening in who, is in that kind of a place of like, oh God, I feel crap about myself and I don't really know where to start when it comes to, I'm lucky if I put on a pair of leggings like in the morning. What would you have to say to somebody like that?
Okay, well, I would say change can never happen unless you want to change yourself.
Brilliant.
Nobody, and I mean no one, can do it for you. So first of all, you've got to get up in the morning and say, okay, this is my day now and I'm taking control of myself. And therefore, I would say to you, go drop the leggings, go and get into something that you feel good in. I think you have to feel good in what you're wearing. And then from there, actually your whole mindset changes. Even on the way you work.
Yeah.
Because I know even on the day I work, if I was over casual going into work, I perform completely different on the days than when I would be in a suit or in something completely different in the office.
Yeah.
And that's just giving that small example.
Yeah, 100%.
But change has to come from yourself.
Yeah.
And then take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you're right, it impacts your mindset. 100%. Like how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Aesthetically.
Yeah.
Completely influences how you think and how you interact with the world.
And you work differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely differently. But if no one can do it for you, only you. No one has control over that.
No,
absolutely nobody has control over it.
No.
Only yourself. So it's like starting off in a diet or starting off in a walk or starting off in a fitness regime. If you want to go and start saying, do you know what, I just want to spruce up my whole look, my whole wardrobe, then I would say to you, go and do it. Don't wait. What are you waiting for? It's not like you have to wait for a bad weekend to happen or a Monday morning. What's wrong with Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a great sense of kind of get up and go about you always. Is there anything, this is a sneaky question now, I wasn't going to ask you this, but I want to ask you. Is there anything that you do in terms of kind of like that morning rituals, Mandy, that, like that to get yourself kind of motivated for the day? Or would you do like any kind of, I don't know, mantras, or would you like do mindset stuff or anything like that?
I don't hugely.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
Yeah.
I don't really do Zen much. because my adrenaline, I just don't, because my adrenaline is always on a
very high. Yeah.
And I actually find it very hard to relax.
Yeah.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
Even if I was home now, which an odd day off, I'd like kind of, oh my God, what am I actually going to do? But I love the first hour to myself in the morning.
Okay, with your cup of tea.
Like, you'd laugh at this.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with cleaning. Like, what people mightn't realise, I love the smell of bleach. I love, like, it's hilarious. Like, but this is what my thing is. So my thing would be to get up, tidy, potter around the house, make sure everything is tidy. I do out my bathrooms every single day. You'd laugh at this. Because I mean, like, my kids are still living at home. The kids are still there and they're all adults.
Yeah.
It's like there's 5 adults in the house effectively. Reese is doing his leaving cert this year, who's the youngest. So for me, it's doing that first thing. But I love the cup of tea and 2 biscuits in the morning with absolutely no phone, no nothing. It's just me sitting down, probably with the cat across my knee, and having that cup of tea and 2 biscuits.
Yeah.
That's me 7 mornings a week now.
Yeah.
Don't come near me for the first hour. And I need to do my thing. And then after that, then I'm buzzing for the day then.
So we won't ask you for diet tips, so 2 biggies for breakfast.
It's at least not a cream egg. But I'm absolutely deadly. And I love my food, by the way. I do love my food.
You know you do.
I love my grub. Like, I love my food, but I wish walking is my thing.
You walk. Yeah. And you walk out in Conver, don't you?
Oh yeah, I do. I walk out by
roads.
We have the most amazing, incredible views and everything like that. So we're very lucky.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky where we are, of both the Burren and of course the Atlantic. We've all the Wild Atlantic Way.
You've everything on your doorstep.
So it's beautiful.
Yeah,
for sure. It's lovely.
Fantastic. So now we're going to go down to the Huntsman and have a late lunch for
happy
ourselves
days,
and
Denise.
a proper catch up. But look, it was absolutely a pleasure as always, and lovely to catch up with you. And I know that there's loads of little nuggets, style tips that you threw in here and there that hopefully people, in fact not hopefully, I know people will take a lot from. Thank you so much for coming in and joining me. Mandy Maher, pleasure as always.
Denise O'Dwyer, thank you.